In the remote training grounds of Fort Valor, a sprawling military complex carved into the rugged terrain of northern Colorado, the morning sun cast long shadows over the obstacle courses and firing ranges. The air was thick with anticipation and the sharp scent of gunpowder, as a new cohort of Delta Force recruits was put through their paces. Among the seasoned instructors, Marcus Steele stood apart, his presence commanding yet subtle, a living legend woven into the fabric of the unit's history. Known simply as Steele among those who respected and feared his reputation, Marcus was evaluating the fresh batch of hopefuls with a quiet intensity. The recruits moved through the grueling drills with varying degrees of success, some confident and polished, others struggling to keep pace. Among them was Emma Carter, a young woman whose very presence seemed to unsettle the group. She was slight, with sharp eyes that betrayed a restless intellect, but her movements were tentative, and her mistakes glaringly obvious. From the outset, the other recruits treated her as an anomaly, a weak link unworthy of serious consideration. Whispers and snickers followed her like a shadow, and even some of the instructors exchanged knowing glances that spoke volumes. During the early morning exercise, a timed assault course designed to test agility and endurance, Emma faltered repeatedly. She clipped a wire here, stumbled over a wall there, and moved with a hesitation that betrayed her inexperience. The mocking laughter from her peers was relentless, and a particularly vocal recruit, a burly man named Harris, made no effort to hide his disdain. "Come on, Carter," he jeered loudly enough for all to hear. "You're going to get us all killed out there if you don't pick it up." Despite the jeers, Emma pressed on, her jaw clenched with determination. She was new to this world, yes, but she wasn't here to prove them right. Somewhere in the shadows, Marcus watched quietly. His gaze was sharp, cutting through the noise and the mockery, searching for something beneath the surface. He saw the hesitance and the mistakes, but he also glimpsed a flicker of something else, a spark of resilience, a hunger that refused to be extinguished by doubt or derision. That afternoon, during a break between exercises, Emma sat alone near the edge of the training field, wiping sweat from her brow. The other recruits formed tight clusters, whispering and laughing, their conversations punctuated by pointed glances in her direction. Marcus approached, his stride purposeful yet measured. Emma looked up, startled but not afraid. "You're not like the others," Marcus said quietly, settling down beside her. "They see what's on the surface. I'm interested in what's underneath." Emma's eyes narrowed, suspicion mixing with curiosity. "Why? You don't even know me." "I know what it takes to survive here," Marcus replied. "And I think you might have it, even if you don't see it yet." Their conversation was brief, but it planted a seed. Marcus was not one to waste words, and Emma was not one to squander chances. The rest of the unit remained oblivious to the exchange, their focus fixed on the day's challenges and their own ambitions. As the week progressed, the atmosphere in the camp grew more charged. The recruits faced relentless physical and psychological tests, designed to break them down and rebuild them as weapons of precision and strategy. Emma continued to struggle, her failures often the subject of harsh ridicule. Yet Marcus watched from a distance, quietly noting each moment where she pushed beyond her limits, where her instincts, though unrefined, hinted at a deeper potential. One evening, after a particularly brutal day of close-quarters combat simulations, the recruits gathered in the dimly lit mess hall. The mood was tense, exhaustion mingled with frustration. Emma sat at the far end of the table, arms crossed, her expression unreadable. Harris and a few others were in the midst of a mocking tirade, recounting her latest missteps with exaggerated glee. "She's a liability," Harris declared, slamming his fist on the table for emphasis. "We're wasting time on someone who'll never make the cut." Before the others could join in, Marcus's voice cut through the din, low and authoritative. "Enough." Heads turned toward him, silence falling like a heavy curtain. Marcus stood, eyes sweeping the room with the weight of command. "Emma Carter is here because she has potential. That potential hasn't been realized yet, but I'm betting on it. You can either help her grow or get out of the way." The room was stunned. Some recruits exchanged doubtful glances, others smirked, dismissing the statement as a quirk of Marcus's judgment. Emma, however, felt an unexpected surge of hope. For the first time, someone of real authority had acknowledged her not as a failure, but as a prospect. The next morning, while the camp stirred awake beneath a pale dawn, Marcus sought Emma out. He found her at the firing range, struggling to steady her aim. The rifle was heavy in her hands, the recoil unsettling. She looked up as he approached, wary but attentive. "You're off balance," Marcus observed. "Your stance isn't solid. Move your feet wider, lower your center of gravity. Control the rifle, don't let it control you." Under his watchful eye, Emma adjusted her posture and took another shot. The bullet struck closer to the target, a small victory that drew a rare, approving nod from Marcus. "Training is about more than muscle memory," Marcus said. "It's about mindset. You have to believe you can do it before you actually can." Over the following days, Marcus began to mentor Emma in secret. Away from the prying eyes and cynical voices of the other recruits, he pushed her harder than anyone else dared. He designed drills that targeted her weaknesses and encouraged her to think tactically rather than reactively. Slowly, Emma's confidence grew, even if the rest of the unit remained unaware of the transformation unfolding beneath their notice. The other recruits continued their dismissive behavior, some intensifying their mockery, as if sensing a threat to their established hierarchies. Yet Emma endured, fueled by Marcus's quiet faith and her own stubborn resolve. She learned to mask her fear, to harness her frustration, and to sharpen her instincts. One afternoon, during a complex tactical simulation involving hostage rescue and stealth infiltration, Emma's progress began to reveal itself. She moved with greater assurance, anticipating enemy movements and adapting her approach on the fly. Marcus observed from a distance, a faint smile touching the corner of his mouth. The seed he had planted was sprouting, but the unit remained unaware of the full extent of Emma's growth. To them, she was still the rookie, the underdog, the one destined to fall behind. Only Marcus knew that beneath the surface of mockery and doubt, a formidable operative was quietly taking shape, one who might soon redefine what it meant to belong to Delta Force. As twilight settled over the camp, Emma stood alone on a ridge, staring out at the vast expanse of wilderness. The weight of her journey pressed on her, but so did a newfound determination. She was no longer just a recruit struggling to survive. She was a contender, a secret weapon in the making, guided by the steady hand of a legend who saw in her what others could not. The real battle was just beginning. The relentless dawn light filtered through the dense pines surrounding Fort Valor, casting a muted glow over the training camp that had become the crucible for the future warriors of Delta Force. Emma Carter was already on her feet, moving with a purpose that had been absent just weeks before. Her body, once awkward and uncertain, now moved with a growing fluidity born from hours of grueling practice and relentless correction. But it was more than just physical change. There was a shift in her demeanor, a quiet confidence tempered by discipline. Marcus Steele observed her from the sidelines, arms crossed, a measured expression carved onto his face. No longer was she the timid recruit who stumbled through the obstacle course, drawing the scorn of her peers. Now, under his careful guidance, Emma was transforming into something far more formidable. Yet Marcus knew the path ahead was fraught with challenges. Raw talent alone would not suffice in the crucible of combat. She needed refinement, a honing of skills that would push her limits and forge her instincts into weapons. Behind the scenes, Marcus had crafted a rigorous training regimen tailored specifically for Emma. It was a blend of physical endurance, tactical exercises, and mental conditioning, each designed to test her resilience and sharpen her decision-making under pressure. He was meticulous, breaking down her weaknesses and methodically addressing each one. "Focus on your breathing," Marcus instructed during a late morning session focused on marksmanship. "Control your heart rate. Your shot is only as steady as your mind." Emma nodded, wiping sweat from her brow as she steadied the rifle. The target, a distant silhouette, seemed to mock her with its impassive stillness. Her pulse thundered in her ears, but she forced herself to slow, to breathe deep and deliberate. The shot rang out, striking closer to the center than it ever had before. "Better," Marcus said, a rare note of approval in his voice. The rest of the unit remained oblivious to the transformation taking place. To them, Emma was still the rookie who had once been a laughingstock, her early mistakes a convenient narrative that persisted despite her progress. The other recruits continued their quiet skepticism, dismissing her improvements as flukes or temporary flares of luck. But Marcus saw beyond the surface. He recognized the strategic mind beneath her hesitant exterior, the way she absorbed information, analyzed scenarios, and adapted quickly. During tactical drills, Emma began to anticipate enemy movements, making decisions that surprised even seasoned instructors. One afternoon, during a simulated urban assault, Marcus watched as Emma took command of her fire team. They advanced through a mock apartment complex, clearing rooms with precision and coordination. Emma's voice was steady and clear, issuing orders that balanced aggression with caution. When a simulated hostage was discovered, she devised an extraction plan that minimized risk while maximizing speed. "Good," Marcus muttered under his breath. "You're thinking like a leader." Despite her growing prowess, Emma remained painfully aware of the lingering doubts around her. The whispered conversations, the sideways glances, they reminded her that acceptance was still out of reach. Yet she used that doubt as fuel, pushing herself harder, driven by the knowledge that her true test was still ahead. During evenings when the camp quieted and the stars emerged overhead, Marcus and Emma would retreat to a secluded area near the base's perimeter. There, under the cloak of darkness, Marcus shared lessons beyond the physical, tactics, psychology, the nuances of asymmetric warfare. He taught her to read enemy behavior, to anticipate moves before they happened, and to exploit weaknesses in ways that raw strength could never achieve. "You're not just training to fight," Marcus said one night, his voice low and deliberate. "You're training to outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast. That's what separates Delta from the rest." Emma absorbed every word, her mind racing with potential applications. The lessons were difficult, often frustrating, but they began to reshape her understanding of warfare. She was no longer reacting blindly. She was calculating, planning, preparing for scenarios she hadn't yet faced. As days turned into weeks, Marcus's mentorship deepened. He began integrating Emma into more complex exercises, pairing her with elite instructors who challenged her further. In these sessions, she demonstrated an uncanny ability to learn quickly and adapt on the fly, skills that even Marcus hadn't fully expected. One morning, during a high-stakes navigation exercise through dense wilderness, Emma's team was tasked with reaching a distant extraction point while avoiding simulated enemy patrols. The terrain was unforgiving, steep inclines, thick underbrush, unpredictable weather. Many recruits faltered, losing their way or breaking formation under pressure. Emma, however, moved with purpose. She led her team silently, using hand signals and keen observation to guide them. When an enemy patrol appeared, she quickly devised a detour, using the landscape to their advantage and avoiding detection entirely. By the time they reached the extraction point, her team was the only one to arrive intact and on schedule. Marcus watched from a concealed vantage, a flicker of pride warming his usual stoicism. The others remained unaware of the significance, but for Marcus, this was a breakthrough, a validation of his investment and Emma's relentless effort. Yet, even as Emma's skills blossomed, the wider unit's skepticism lingered. Some recruits whispered that Marcus had taken a personal interest in her, suggesting favoritism rather than merit. Emma overheard fragments of conversation, the insinuations stinging more than any physical exhaustion. But Marcus remained unshaken. He continued to shield her from the worst of the criticism, intervening subtly when necessary, while pushing Emma to keep proving herself on the battlefield of training. As the unit prepared for a looming, high-profile operation briefing, anticipation buzzed through the camp. The mission required a covert operative capable of deep reconnaissance and sabotage, someone with a unique blend of skills and mental agility. Marcus knew the moment had come to reveal what Emma had become. He watched as the others speculated, some naming seasoned veterans, others betting on the flashy, aggressive types. No one mentioned Emma. To them, she was still the underdog, the rookie who had yet to earn her place. But Marcus held a different vision. Beneath the surface of doubt and derision, Emma had grown into a precise, resilient operator, one who could tip the scales in their favor when the stakes were highest. As the mission briefing drew near, Marcus prepared to unveil his secret weapon, knowing the path forward would be as much a test of trust as of skill. Emma's journey from mocked recruit to indispensable asset was about to reach a critical turning point. and the eyes of the entire unit would soon be forced to reckon with the truth hidden beneath their skepticism. Night had fallen over the dense jungle region where the covert mission was set to unfold. The air was thick with humidity and the distant chorus of nocturnal wildlife, masking the tension that gripped the small insertion team. Emma Carter crouched silently in the underbrush, her breath steady, eyes sharp beneath the low glow of her night vision goggles. The world beyond the trees was hostile and uncertain, but she moved with a calm precision that belied the rookie reputation she once carried. Inserted behind enemy lines hours earlier, Emma's task was clear but deadly. Conduct reconnaissance on a high-value target compound and sabotage their communications to cripple enemy coordination. The mission demanded a blend of stealth, tactical acuity, and raw nerve, qualities Marcus Steele had recognized in her long before anyone else. Her radio crackled softly, Marcus's voice a whispered anchor in the darkness. Status: position secure. No visual on hostiles yet. Emma replied, her voice low but confident. The terrain was unforgiving, uneven ground, thick foliage, and the ever-present risk of patrols. Emma navigated with deliberate care, using every skill Marcus had drilled into her. She moved not just to survive, but to outthink the enemy at every turn. As she approached the perimeter of the compound, Emma's training kicked into overdrive. She scanned for security cameras and patrol patterns, noting a blind spot beneath a flickering streetlight. Timing her approach carefully, she slipped through the shadows, avoiding sensors and motion detectors. Inside, the compound was a hive of activity. Guards moved in predictable circuits, radios crackling intermittently. Emma's objective was twofold: plant an electronic disruptor on the main communications array and gather intel on enemy movements. She moved swiftly, methodically, her every step calculated. Suddenly, a figure emerged from a side corridor, a patrol guard too close, too soon. Emma froze, heart pounding, as the guard paused, scanning the area. With no time to retreat, she reacted instinctively, a swift takedown executed with precision honed through countless drills. The guard collapsed silently, and Emma melted back into the shadows. Minutes later, she reached the communications hub. The electronic disruptor was compact but powerful, capable of jamming signals across a wide radius. She attached the device carefully, setting the timer for activation. As she worked, a nearby monitor flickered, revealing live feeds of other parts of the compound. Emma's eyes caught movement. A key enemy operative, heavily armed, entering the building. Without hesitation, Emma formulated a plan. This was the moment Marcus had prepared her for, the chance to shift the tide. She retrieved a silenced pistol from her pack and moved to intercept. Navigating the narrow corridors with quiet urgency, Emma closed the distance. The operative was alert, but unsuspecting of the silent shadow stalking him. When the moment came, she struck with lethal efficiency, one precise shot, a swift incapacitation. The enemy crumpled, and Emma secured critical documents from his person, evidence of planned operations that would prove invaluable. Her radio buzzed again. Report. Marcus's voice was steady, expectant. Target down. Intel secured. Initiating exfil. Emma replied, adrenaline coursing but her tone controlled. The return journey was no less perilous. Enemy reinforcements were already mobilizing, alerted by the disruption. Emma navigated through dense undergrowth, using diversionary tactics she had internalized during training. She deployed smoke grenades and set small charges to mislead pursuers, buying precious time. Back at the extraction point, a helicopter's rotor blades thumped rhythmically, slicing through the night. Emma slid aboard, the weight of the mission momentarily lifting as she sank into the seat. Marcus was already there, his expression unreadable but his eyes reflecting a quiet pride. During the debrief, the room was thick with tension. The other recruits and instructors leaned in, eager for details of the operation. Marcus stepped forward, the authority in his voice commanding attention. Emma Carter was the operative on the ground, he announced, silencing murmurs of disbelief. She executed the mission flawlessly, recon, sabotage, and intelligence gathering. Her actions directly contributed to the success of the operation. The room was stunned. Skeptics exchanged glances, their doubts challenged by the undeniable facts. Emma, seated quietly, felt the weight of recognition settling over her. She had crossed the threshold, from underestimated rookie to proven asset. Questions followed, intense and probing. How did she avoid detection? What tactics did she employ? Emma answered with measured clarity, each response reflecting the depth of her preparation and the mentorship she had received. Marcus watched her, a faint smile breaking his usually stoic demeanor. The final report emphasized that the mission's success hinged on Emma's unique contributions, her ability to adapt, to think strategically under pressure, and to execute with precision. The operation was a decisive victory, a testament to the value of recognizing and cultivating hidden potential. As the debrief concluded, the atmosphere in the room shifted. Emma's peers regarded her with newfound respect, a silent acknowledgement that the narrative had changed. No longer the rookie to be mocked, she was now a symbol of what perseverance and mentorship could achieve. Marcus approached Emma as the others dispersed, his voice low. "You did well. This is just the beginning." Emma nodded, the weight of the moment settling in. She had proven herself not only to the unit but to herself. A transformation born from relentless training, quiet faith, and an unyielding will. The mission was over, but the journey was far from complete. In the days following the mission debrief, the atmosphere within the Delta Force unit at Fort Valor shifted subtly, but unmistakably. Emma Carter moved through the training grounds no longer as the mocked rookie who stumbled under scrutiny, but as a respected operative whose skills had been forged in the crucible of real combat. Whispers of her success spread, replacing the sneers and doubts that had once shadowed her every step. Her peers approached with cautious respect, some offering nods of acknowledgement, others seeking to learn from the woman they had once dismissed. The transformation was not just in Emma. It rippled through the entire unit, challenging long-held assumptions about talent, perseverance, and the true measure of strength. Marcus Steele watched this evolution with a quiet satisfaction. The young operative's journey had become a beacon within the unit, a testament to the power of mentorship and the importance of looking beyond surface impressions. He knew that the legacy they were building was not just about individual victories, but about fostering an environment where potential could be nurtured, regardless of origins. During a group briefing, the commanding officer addressed the unit, highlighting the mission's success and singling out Emma's critical role. The tone was formal but carried a genuine note of pride. Emma Carter has set a new standard for what it means to be a Delta operator. Her dedication and skill have earned her place among us, and her example should inspire every member of this unit. In the following weeks, the unit's culture began to shift. Training exercises incorporated more collaborative elements, encouraging recruits and veterans alike to share knowledge and support one another's growth. The walls of competition softened, replaced by a growing sense of camaraderie and shared purpose. Emma found herself stepping into new roles, not just as a combatant, but as a mentor to newer recruits who arrived with the same mix of uncertainty and ambition she once carried. She shared insights from her journey, emphasizing resilience and the importance of embracing challenges rather than fearing them. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains, Marcus and Emma met in a quiet corner of the training camp. The air was cool, the sounds of distant drills fading into the night. "Your progress has been remarkable," Marcus said, his tone both approving and contemplative. "But this is just the beginning." It was a passing of the torch, a shared commitment to the ideals that defined their unit. As night deepened, Emma stood looking out over the training fields, the stars above a silent witness to her transformation. The journey from mocked rookie to celebrated operative was a story that would inspire those who followed. It was a reminder that true strength often lies hidden beneath doubt and adversity, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Within the walls of Fort Valor, a new legacy was being forged, one built not just on individual prowess, but on the power of recognizing potential, cultivating growth, and fostering a community where every member could rise. Emma Carter's story was far from over. But as she stepped forward into the future, she carried with her the knowledge that she was no longer alone, that her journey was part of something greater, a relentless pursuit of excellence, resilience, and the unbreakable bond of those who serve together.